Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Leela Rhodes and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at NetCom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We are very excited to host today's webinar, What's New with Autodesk Revit 2022? Presenting today's topic is Roger Mujica, and Roger is an AutoCAD Subject Matter Expert with over 12 years of experience in architecture, engineering, manufacturing, structural, civil, and MEP drafting and construction documents, and he has provided world-class expertise and trainings on the latest trends and workflows for BMI and CAD platforms. Now, please bear in mind that this is just an overview of a very robust topic, and we do offer a collection of technical and business courses that can be tailored towards your specific requirements. So if you're interested in a further discussion about any of those, I was selected on the wrong thing, on any of those, please make an appointment with our learning consultants through our website at www.netcomlearning.com. Today's session is also being recorded, so you will get free access to the recording in the next 24 hours via email. NetCom Learning helps customers build an innovative learning organization by achieving a smarter workforce, adapting to change, and driving growth. And we do this with a broad catalog of offerings, developing customized learning plans, and our global delivery capabilities. Since 1998, we have been empowering organizations with our managed learning services to help them reach optimal performance results and address challenges. And there are 9 practice areas in which we specialize, and they encompass people, process, and technology training. Today's presentation is from the design and multimedia practice area. NetCom Learning offers a comprehensive training portfolio for design and multimedia courses, and our upcoming classes include various training on Autodesk Revit 2021, fundamentals for structure, fundamentals for MEP, fundamentals for architecture, and many more. Now, private training to teams is also available, and the learning plans can be customized to the specific needs of that audience. You can also access a variety of design and multimedia marketing assets, such as the free 1-hour training, free on-demand training, and blogs by clicking on the available webinar handout. And these offerings can also be found with a simple search on our website at www.netcomlearning.com. In this webinar today, we will explore and learn about new native PDF export, wall enhancements, tapered walls, new enhancements to tags, and much more. Now, before we do get started today, I just want to give you the logistics. To start with, you have the option to adjust the window size to your liking. You can simply hit the escape key to find the Zoom button on the top left corner of your GoToWebinar viewer. Everyone has been muted except for our presenters, so feel free to submit any questions you have for the presenters in the questions panel, and we will address them at the end of the session today. Also, to get the best out of today's webinar, we've included the slides, courses we've talked about, and marketing assets in the handout section of your GoToWebinar viewer, and you can refer to them at any time to get a better understanding of the topic today. And now I'm going to go ahead and pass the time over to Roger to present. If I can get my mouse to work. Here we go. Roger, you should be able to share your screen, but you are still on mute. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I'm sharing my screen. I just want to make sure that you see it.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Lila. I appreciate your introduction. So yes, this is a very robust topic. So we're going to be discussing a little bit 3 or 4 enhancements that are new features on the Revit 2020. We actually have so many these years that it was hard for me to pick and choose what going to be the best, because I really absolutely love all of them. However, I found it very interesting as a Revit user for many years, and many of my friends that we were actually, I asked some of my friends to tell me I'm going to do this, and what do you think that I should be talking about? Because it's so many good new enhancements that we would like to talk about all of them. But I choose these 3 major ones. One of the most important one for me is the new native PDF export. Voila, so finally it's there. The wall enhancements, they keep surprising us. Autodesk keeps surprising us in Revit with these new wall enhancements in the last 2 versions. And actually a lot of good enhancements in related to tasks and documentation. So this actually is very, very, very exciting. And I'm very excited to present this to you. So I'm kind of a little bit goofy here, but finally we have it. So we finally have the new updated, having the capability to export, or at least to, have PDF files directly from Revit. In the past, we relied so much in many other PDF converter, but finally we have it here. So let's dive in. Let's go directly to our Revit. And actually would like to open a file that already has some of those documents already set up. So for the time being, so I just want to have a project that is already set up. I choose a MEP project. It has mechanical and plumbing design there. And you're going to love this part of the export directly from Revit PDF files. So you notice I have this project here. You have coordination, electrical, all of these disciplines, and I have some settings, some setup, some sheets there, or documents already ready to print. In the past, we need to rely on print and go to print and use any PDF converter. Many companies has Adobe and other converters, Bluebeam, etc. I have my particular one that I have been using for many, many years from AutoCAD and then now in Revit. But now we do have this beautiful thing here in export. We have now export PDF. It's super, super, super interesting. You're gonna love this. So I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration here. It's straightforward. There's nothing here that we can, miss. So you can export the current view, or actually this visible portion of it, or my favorite, select it from the views and the sheets that we have available. If you select that part, you can go here to this little pen, and then you're going to have access to export anything from there as a PDF file. Obviously, I want to give you the demonstration. That's the part that we always kind of end up doing it. So you can filter, 3D views, between 3D views, 2D views, and sheets. So you can filter that for this group. You can select them all. And if you want to, you see, can give you a preview. Obviously, we don't have it right now, but you can actually save this group. So for future reference, instead of doing this, you just simply look for that guy. In this case, I'm just not gonna save it. I just wanna select all of those papers and documents, and then I'm gonna be printing them. The rest is very straightforward, very similar to the way that we do print. So we just need to select the sheet size. In this case, this is 30 by 42 millimeters. I always emphasize the fact that we need to be mindful. This is zoom 100% so that the actually scale works fine. Revit automatic you see automatic portray that orientation depending on my paper title block. So whether it's portrait, landscape, or whatever it is. And it actually has something very nicely too. So if you have different papers, different sizes, Revit automatic will print or export, better to say, those electronic PDF files with those pages in the size that they are. So you can have that ready here. Now, by default, Revit is going to combine all of these set of pages into one, but you can actually uncheck this guy and have individual PDF. Notice something that happened when you check the combined one. It's actually going to tell me the name of the project, MEP Elementary School documents, and that will be only one PDF file. If I want to have individual pages, which is sometimes very convenient in order to archive them or change or share with other people, you have here the capability to rename of set rules names. This is super interesting. Set rule names to those pages. So for example, you have the type and the view name. I really would like to keep the view name, but I would like to have the sheet number probably and the sheet name as well, so that actually the page, each one of them is going to have those rule names associated with it. So you click there, then you're ready to go. So if you export these guys, the export is going to give us the opportunity to, if we want to, save these settings, so that for future here in the session, I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to save it or not. But I also have the capability to, see or browse where I want to save my files. So I'm going to save it here. I have here a print export PDF. And when I hit there and then export it, I'm going to say, no, I don't want to save this guy. Use the parameter name for missing values, and then it's going to be printing and exported. We usually use the word printing, but it's going to be exporting all of these files for us, and then we're going to have native PDF files directly from Revit. So in the past, like I mentioned earlier, and we all know this painful thing, we now have that capability to export directly our files. You notice here how they are set up, and then you have all of those guys. So this is a very exciting new enhancements and new features in Revit 2022. The other enhancements that they keep surprising us is now the tapered walls. So in 2021, maybe you still are not so used to use them. We have the slope, walls. Now they introduced the tapered walls here. This is super excited because now we can have really very interesting design. No more doing, genetic walls by actually using the in-place families, etc. But now we can do that directly in our walls with the wall types. So let's dive in. Let's do that. So I'm gonna open a brand new project, architectural template, and then I'm gonna do that in here. I'm gonna just create a simple wall. I'm gonna create this exterior brick wall. So I'm gonna create it from point A to point B, and then if you select this wall, now you can see here in the parameters that you have the cross section is by default vertical, but now we have this slanted that it was introduced in the previous version 2021, and we have the tapered wall. If I click there, it's gonna give me this one. So you need to now see how this really works. So you need to select these walls in the edit type. You need to make sure, I'm gonna expand this so that you can see how it works. Make sure here in the structural, now we have now the capability to select any one of these layers of materials to be to make it, tapered walls, whether it's in the top or in the bottom of this. Usually tapered walls goes from the bottom to the top, and you now can do it in both sizes, inside the walls, exterior size, or in the interior size. You notice here this says variable here. So I'm going to do the variable for the actual, finish here in the exterior size. Just if with one of these, it will work out for you to now taper. You notice now that when I hit OK, in my editing my structure of the wall, this kind cross-section properties come out. So you see by default, obviously come out 0, 0. You can actually immediately here can determine what is your angle for whether you're going to taper the cross-section on the interior or the exterior. Or you can later do it manually for each one of them. I'm just going to make it 2 and 5 here. Or better to say, I like to do it this other way, 5 and 3. And it's going to be tapered, with measure at the top. When you do that, nothing happened yet because it's still that wall is vertical. But now I can taper it, and then when you see now this nice thing happen. I'm going to just create a section so that you can see what happened there. So now you see your wall. I'm going to bump it up this to fine, and you can tell now how this guy works. You selected, you notice that is 5 in the exterior angle, 5, and you can tell here, and 3. You can actually type it there, you know, you can make it smaller, 3, by override it in. It's not overriding because what happened is that you need to select this guy and override here, you see, override the type properties. Now you can have access to do it manually here on the properties or directly here if you want to feel more comfortable here in the graphic area. So let's say that I want the interior to be straight. You notice how nicely this guy works. And then here you keep it 5, 3, 4, whatever you want it to, or even negative. So you can actually go here to negative. I'm going to do this maybe 3, and this guy gonna go -1. Let's see if we accept that, and that's actually accepting that. So notice here how it goes. Make sure that you understand too that how you create your walls, the location line will be impacted in, you know, that table. Then you might wonder, okay, that sounds really, really nice. What happened? And I'm gonna go to a 3D view. You see how it looks like. And what happened if I am placing some walls? I'm sorry, some doors and windows there. So I'm gonna put this door here, and I'm gonna place a window here. And when you look at this in 3D, then you can select these guys and make it, you know, a slope with the, you notice here, orientation of this with the along the exterior line. And you notice how it changed, and so forth with this guy too. You know, the interior or exterior, you're gonna do it exterior, and then you notice how it changed. Just to give you an idea, I'm gonna move this guy here, and you're gonna see that your wall, your door is actually following very nicely there. So the situation happened with your window. Sorry, I'm doing this fast. We have a time constraint, but I just want to show you, you see, how beautiful, you see how beautiful this guy is. If you select the wall, just be mindful you might get maybe 2.5 degrees, and you now select this guy. Because again, it's going along, you see the exterior here, so that you will be able to create your interior or the exterior. And you notice here how they will be working. So this is super exciting. This now they keep, for me, this is amazing how they keep, you know, surprising us with these new enhancements. And last enhancement that I found it really interesting was the way that now we tag and how we can actually document our drawings much better. One of the things that I love the most, I'm going to talk about the rotated tab, the curtain walls, and multi-leader tags. These last two are super excited because now we do have the capability to tag the mullions. This is amazing now. In the past, we used to do, you know, rely on the Revit manager so that they made the rotation of the tag possible for us, etc. This is no longer the case. We now can do that. So just gonna open quickly in why this project is open. Actually, no, I'm gonna use the other one. Oh no, because this is not architecture. Let me do very interesting, open a file there that I have prepared for using these tabs here. This architectural is already set up with some documentation here, the first floor. And you notice that there's a lot of bunch of tags here, very repeated. 3 is repeated about all of these walls, and here, this wall here, this wall here, this wall here. So now you can group these guys. I'm gonna go from left to right, basically. In my PowerPoint, I'm gonna go for the multi-leader tag first. It's a simple one, but very, very effective. So now you can select the tag and immediately give you this now new feature, add or remove host. So now you can, you see, this is the host, but you can add the new one, and then you can keep adding posting there. So obviously you need to kind of come here and then organize your tab, but you know the picture here. I'm gonna move this little guy. So now we can have one tab, less clutter, and then we can, this is not the nicest presentation. You know what happened when we come to annotations. Annotation become messy a lot, but now we can do all of these guys together. So now we can with a multi-leader tag and then immediately add more elements to that, and that will actually help us a lot, you know, a lot in the presentation and how we actually can add more elements to these guys. So now you have that part very nicely. So it helped us a lot in this case. Now what happened with this guy? Now this guy, remember, we used to move it only to one side. There's no way, the only way that rotated so that it goes actually with the wind, with the door in this case, was if we create a special tab that actually we create the rotation, etc. So we usually relied on the Revit manager. So we can actually do this now. We can rotate it. You see, in the past was not available, this feature. So we can rotate it. And now we have our tabs, you know, following much nicer this guy. Obviously, again, this is annotation. Annotation is messy. You know the deal. I particularly don't like annotation because of that situation. It's messy, but now we have this capability to do that. Mullions, you know, in the past, when we go to make an annotation, we annotate, you know, the actually, you know, the wall tag, which is actually a wall, you know, this is the actually, you know, curtain wall. But now we do have the possibility to annotate the, look at this, the curtain wall, a mullion, independently. So not only that one, but you see the other one that is below. So we can, this is actually the wall, but the curtain wall, we can do it. So I downloaded already in this project. So initially, if you have a, you know, legacy file that you've been working from 2021 and you just bring it in 2022, that tab is not going to be loaded. So how can you bring in? Now, in the insert tab, you're going to have the capability to bring the load the Autodesk family. This actually changed for us in 2022. This is an extra that I'm giving you right now. And then you can type it here, you know, like the category annotations, you type it here, you know. Now, curtain wall, you know, mullion, and then the tag is going to be there. So you can see this one, you can download it. That's actually the generic tags, but now you can have access to bring this guy in and then tag it there. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing something like this. I will be now selecting this, and if all of the mullions are, you know, just the same, so you just simple make sure that you can do now the, you know, do various, well, here is various because you have 2 mullions difference. So you can bring all together. But these are very interesting situation here now with the tags. It helps us to do better documentation and actually help us to work a lot less clutter here. And these are only, you know, few examples of the new enhancements with the that they have for documentation. They have others, but we choose these 3 major enhancements on new features in Revit. The enhancement with the tags. I'm going to go back here. Now the PDF export native from Revit that is amazing now, and the new enhancement with the walls, the taper walls. Now we do have 2. You know, we have the slanted and the taper walls available for us. So hope that you enjoyed this. I did it fast, but it's very, straightforward to do it. There are a lot of other new enhancements there available, but the time frame so that allows us to show everything. There are 20 plus new enhancements in the 2022 in Revit, so enjoy it. Try to look at them, and I hope that this actually give you an appetite for what is stored for us. So Laila, are you available there? And Jess would like to pass on to you so that you can wrap up this class. And probably there are some questions for me too.
Yes, sorry, you got through the material super efficiently. I was doing something else on my computer when you got that finished. Okay, so we will go ahead and get into the questions, but before we do, we are going to hear from the fabulous Eliza, and she is going to take a moment to share with us some of the webinar related courses and promotions attached to today's presentation. Eliza, you should be able to share your screen now.
Thank you so much, Leila. And Roger, thank you so much for joining today and taking this session. That was super fast. You're not wrong about that. Roger, I wanted to ask you this, before Leila gets into any other questions. Tell me something, for Autodesk, we're getting this 2022 version. Not just for the AutoCAD or the Revit, but for others as well, Fusion 360. I know you are actually getting into Fusion 360 as well, and Autodesk is actually promoting the learning for Fusion 360 as well. And I wanted to understand when it works from now, we have licenses. When our customers come to us, we do anywhere from 2018 to 2022, no matter which version they're using. But they always want to go for the newest one. So what happens when a customer comes to us and they're probably on a 2019 version, but they want to learn the 2022? What is your, what's going to be, what would you suggest to them, to put it in plain terms?
You're talking about Revit, correct?
Revit, yeah.
Yeah, well, Revit has a lot of major changes from for example, from 2018, 2019 to 2022. My suggestion would be to take a small, maybe one-day class that we be updating people for these new features. Like I mentioned to you, I was a little bit fast because I tried to cover, these features. There are 20 plus. I found that it's very interesting that in 2022, there are 20 plus different new features. So definitely a person that took a class or has been using the version of 2018, 2019 for the last 2-3 years, they're moving on to the new version, 2021 or 2022, they're going to encounter that they're going to keep using the program as the old version without having the advantageous things to use the new features. So I highly recommend it, and maybe take a small class. I'm pretty sure that NetCom, we do have a update or upgrade class for the new version, so you don't have to take the whole class, fundamentals class, because you already know that you were using Revit. What you need to know is be acquainted with the new features, and obviously take the class with a little bit more time to exercise, not the way that I did it so fast, but just practice a little bit these things. Like everything in life, switching to something new, we human are kind of like we have the force of the nature to get back to the old habits or the old way that we do it because we feel more comfortable. I suggest just go for it. Take a small class that is going to upgrade you or update you with the new features, because there are a lot. Between 2021 and 2022, there's a lot new features, beautiful things that we can do now, and speed up the process. Probably that was my concern this morning in the presentation, because I want to show the new features in a fast way, because you can see that now we can speed up the process of the project when we're working. Now you notice in the tab, for example, in documentation, we were a lot more faster than it was in the past. In the past, it took a long time to do those little things that I did. It took probably 3 or 4 or 5 times more time to do it in the old-fashioned way. Now, knowing those new features will allows us to be more proficient, and by all means, switch to those. Practice a little, implement it in your daily work, and you're gonna see that the old habits of being on the comfort zone will go away, and you're gonna be feeling much more comfortable with the new features. I remember the slant in the tapered walls. In the past, what I just did with the walls, honestly, it will take probably an hour or so just to create one wall in that way, placing the doors and the windows that it actually match the doors with the in-place family. Now, with just one click, that you actually change the variables, and then you can do all of those changes immediately. So that will be my suggestion. So if you're using those previous versions and then you took those classes and then you are feel comfortable, is take a small upgrade class and be also very specific what features do you think it will be most useful for you or your company. Many companies, they might want to discuss with you or NetCom, what the features that they feel that it might be, or what we can suggest and what will be the features based on the kind of work that they do.
Right, right. I think most of our customers that come in, usually, they get into the BIM management, they get into a lot of MEP as well. And this is what I wanted to ask you about. They get into Revit architecture as well. So with the MEP, right, I understand that as in Revit, there are just 3 different tabs. There's a mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. And, I feel sometimes that the target audience for these 3 tabs are also probably different people working on different kind of projects. So if you put that into perspective, what would you advise to the learners who are taking the MEP courses?
As far as getting to the new features, or just taking the class for MEP?
Just the class for MEP, not the new features.
Well, the class for MEP with the new features, there's a lot new features for MEP as well. Actually, they did a lot of interesting things in 2021, but especially in 2022. In the 2022, they did a chunk of little beautiful nuggets, gems for all of the disciplines. For mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, they have like about 7 new features available for MEP users. So if you're gonna take a class, I suggest go straight forward, take the class for MEP, Revit MEP 2022. And for structural as well, they did a lot of new amazing changes here in these. Changes for better. It's not that new features and new changes for doing things a lot faster and easier. And architecture, are just focusing the architecture. For example, the tags. Yes, I focus a little bit on the Mulium because it's architecture, but the task is actually very, very, what I show you today, guys, is very useful for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, especially for MEP. It's super, super convenient, the task for MEP. In my current class of MEP, I'm going to introduce a little bit about that, even though that, is not in the pencil right now that I'm going to teach, but it's important to know that because it speed up the process of the documentation. The idea with the Autodesk in all of these programs, Fusion, Revit, especially Revit, AutoCAD included, is that we can work faster without compromise accuracy and being more proficient. And as a personal level, if you feel really that you're a good professional and you want to improve in this, definitely taking a hands-on training that really help us to see the good technical aspect is important. It's important in not diving by yourself and, okay, I figure it out. It's much better to have a lead training that can tell us the reason why behind these new enhancements that Autodesk are putting so much effort in place and giving us all of these new super interesting features. Now I will say, so MEP definitely is one of the big topics. MEP and structural in Autodesk, new enhancement in Revit that they are focusing so that people, more companies, more professionals switch to this wonderful program. It's amazing.
So if you were to take a learning path, right? Let's say I come in from a different target audience, and I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people today over here, who are already experienced. They probably already have 2 to 3 to 4 years of experience doing this, lot more than that also. But then we have new learners as well that come into picture. So what would you say that, before I get into structure, before I get into MEP, or before I get into BIM and template and family creation, where should I start? If I'm just being introduced to Revit, I'm very new to Revit, where should I start first? And what
Uh,
path should I take?
Definitely fundamentals. Fundamentals gonna give the not only the overall, but it's gonna give the really good foundation for what is BIM and Revit. People confuse both of them. They think that there are two different things. I always, on my, trainees or my students, I work with professionals. So I don't like to tell them student. I prefer to use the word the trainees or my co-professionals when I help them and I collaborate with them. I always put this comparison. The being Revit is the Lamborghini outside. So it's a beautiful car, but the Lamborghini is useless if it doesn't have any engine inside. So it can be very beautiful only for pictures, but you're never going to be driving it. But BIM is inside Lamborghini. It's the engine that actually makes the Lamborghini really stand out. And then obviously you're gonna feel super nice driving that car. So you have the best of both. Revit and BIM Revit is the the car Excel, and then the BIM is the under the hook of that car, so that it makes work fine. And you as the driver, if you actually take the fundamentals and know exactly how you're gonna be doing with both of them, then you're gonna be an asset.
Mhm.
So it's a combination of the three. So the Lamborghini with the BIM or the engine by itself is a nice thing, but when I have it and I have the opportunity to drive it, then it's nicer yet. And obviously, I'm gonna look nicer in the Lamborghini. So I hope that analogy helps. Yeah,
It
I'm
does,
Italian,
it
and
does. Who doesn't?
obviously, yeah, and obviously, I
Who,
use the Lamborghini because it's the car that I love the most. But
who doesn't? Give me one person in this world that does not like the Lamborghini. Okay.
yeah. So yes, the
And I
fundamentals will
can,
be the grades. Then they obviously move on into BIM management. If you actually pursuing that, career as a management, is really there's a lot of opportunity right now to do. But you need to take the first steps. Now, if you're introducing to Revit, let me finish this part. I'm sorry, it don't take it so long. Take the 3 courses. MEP fundamentals, structural fundamentals, and architectural fundamentals. You have no idea.
Mhm.
I cannot emphasize that much. When you take these 3 fundamental class and you have a really overall of Revit, if you saw Revit as a program, it's very intimidating because it's a full capable program that you can do a lot of things. But if you focus only in one, you're missing out other opportunities there. So many people say, "Oh, I'm an architect, and I don't need a structure, no structure or nothing like that." But if an architect, a very good architect, have knowledge in Revit of how structural models works and MEP models works, your job as an architect is going to be much richer and better. And so for MEP people who has a knowledge of architectural modeling in Revit and structural,
Mhm.
their job is going to be a lot much richer and much more meaningful in terms to work in collaboration. Because at the end, Revit is about collaboration. It's not only isolated work. Now you work with other peoples, and last year pandemic showed us very clear that that's the way to go.
Right, right. You're absolutely, this is everything that you say is just so true. And I can ask you a million more questions, Roger, considering that you're here, but I know that I'm not allowed to. So let me just show people what they're really here for is, the promotions and other webinars which are coming up. Leela, I am sorry, I took too much of your time also. But you're not supposed to put me in the same webinar as Roger. You should know that.
You're good. We're still having a kind of a slower trickle of questions, so you're totally fine. I think that it's sometimes somebody's got to be the first one to ask.
Well, I'm gonna make it very exciting for everybody. Okay, and I don't want to sound salesy. I just want to show what's there. Okay. So first of all, at any given point of time, first of all, you guys have to also understand that Autodesk is out with new certifications. And now their certifications are actually moving into the realm of actual things that people do. So when you look at the Autodesk certifications, anytime you want to come and you want to look at Autodesk courses, just come to our website, www.netcomlearning.com. And when you come into Autodesk, this is the easiest way to find everything that you need in Autodesk. Just put Autodesk over there, and everything, all the courses to all different kinds of combo packages to various products, whichever one, for even for Autodesk Revit, you want to look at all the courses just for Revit, that's fine. And then I want to bring your attention to the certifications as well. Now, I'm not saying that all of you want to go for a certification, but you know what? It's a great option to do. So we have actually created exam prep courses which are meant only for these certifications. So an ACP, Revit for architectural design, Revit for structural design, that was already there. But now you will also see other certifications which are kind of like trickling in. And besides the mechanical design, you'll see other certifications which are also trickling in, which talk about, mainly about design, drafting, and so on and so forth. So you just come to this page, or you can also look for Autodesk. If I take you back, you can also come to our vendor page on Autodesk. And what you'll get to see over here are, of course, our popular products. And we couldn't leave Revit out because it is one of the most popular products. You have your popular courses over here. You have your popular certifications that people are going for over here. And then to bring your attention to, we also have some resources. So we have some on-demand webinars that you can go through. We also have a case study on Civil 3D. And the best part is, we also give Autodesk Revit Essentials free e-learning. So if you want to learn on demand, and if you have time, there's actually 5 different e-learnings in between. You just need to put in your information right over here, and you'll see there are 5 different modules, and you can actually come in and watch this e-learning. And it's absolutely free. You don't have to pay for it at all. Now, either you are specific about a course or specific about a certification, and from there on, you feel that, okay, like Roger said, I should take the fundamentals for architecture, or I should take fundamentals for MEP, or I should take fundamentals for structure. Or what you can do is, I'm going to bring you back to our homepage. I mean, I could take you through the other menus also, but the easiest way is the homepage. You come into NetCom Unlimited. Once you come into NetCom Unlimited has over 500 courses. And these are not just ELTs. When you go to different providers, training providers, you see, hey, I have an e-learning bundle package or so on and so forth, and it gives you unlimited e-learning. But no, NetCom Unlimited actually gives you unlimited VILT as well. So if you want to look for Autodesk courses, if you ask me, you could just come over to this page, just select Autodesk, and you're going to be able to see all different kinds of courses which are available for you under VILT as well. You want to look for under other vendors. I know Autodesk also, people who use Autodesk also use Adobe, especially the ones in BIM management and so on and so forth, to make those things look so pretty and so realistic. You have Adobe courses over here as well, completely VILT. You have e-learnings in here also, but mostly this particular subscription is for VILT. If you have more than 10 learners, or anywhere from 9 learners, 10 plus learners, the subscription is only $2,499. It's up to you if you want to purchase it separately, different courses, or if you want to purchase the entire subscription only for yourself, anywhere between 1 to 9 learners for $2,999. But that was the sales part. Now I'm going to take you back to the webinars. We also have other upcoming webinars if you want to get into it. We have new webinars coming up under different practice areas. So if you're interested in cloud, security, networking, business processes when it comes to project management, ITIL, and so on and so forth, you have all of these webinars available for you. But under the promotions, there is one thing that I want to bring your attention to. We're also doing a free 2-hour class for Autodesk. Now, there's only one small ask that we have, and that is that we need to have at least 10 learners in the class. So if you are coming in from a specific organization with 10 or more learners, you're welcome to sign up for this class. So we have a free AutoCAD training. We can very well do you, free Revit training or a free inventor training. Sky's the limit. You just let us know and we'll do it for you. The AutoCAD training, if you want to learn about the course details and what it talks about, it's actually parametric behavior and non-parametric software. I'm not going to get into that, but you can actually check out the course details. Just leave your information over here. And when somebody calls you with your information, just let them know that this is the kind of training that I'm looking for my team. It's a 2-hour training. We ask for 10 or more learners. You're more than welcome to sign up for the free training as well. No strings attached, nothing. You just put in your information and let us know. So that's all that I have for today, Leela. Back to you. I'm sorry again.
Thank you so much. We actually had somebody who was grateful for your question in the comments, so it was appreciated. Also, Eliza, there are some people wanting to know if there are any certifications for today's webinar.
There is no certification, but you could send us an email, and if it is eligible for a PDU, which is a professional development unit, I will definitely be able to give you a claim code for that. Send us an email at autodesk@netcomlearning.com. I'll put it in the chat.
Autodesk. Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we will go ahead and jump into our other questions. We only have a few, so if you do have questions, please make sure to get them into our chat. The first one I'm seeing is there any difference between tapered walls and slanted walls as far as the way they, wow. Is there any difference between tapered walls and slanted walls as far as the way we work with them?
And that is my cue to go quiet.
Well, no, necessarily. There are two different ways. I don't know if I can make myself presenter so that I can show you quickly.
Let me do that real quick.
Huh?
You should be able to share your screen.
Okay, let me see if I don't see how to share my screen. I'm still see your screen.
Oh goodness, let's see.
That's what happened with our life. This is good.
I was trying to be the presenter, and then I made myself the presenter. I'm winning today, obviously.
Yeah, well, this is what I have here earlier. That was the taper wall. So I can use the same one. So I'm gonna get selected and go here and create similar. So many people knows this. And I'm going to create a wall. So you know by default, because I create similar, it's gonna create the same, taper wall with the same characteristic here or information. So I just wanna switch this to a length wall, and you see the angle is gonna be 0, or you just, if I'm gonna type it, 10 angle degrees, and just do it. So when you do that, I'm gonna pull this guy out. This is a slant door. Usually what happens is that from the actually location line of the, where we created, and it goes all the way at 10 degree up to, in this case, if I put it to my level 2, it goes there. And that's exactly what is happening from the actual location line. If I switch the location line to, for example, for the exterior face, so it's going to be 10. You notice here very clear. So it's very similar though. However, here we have, in this case, much more control over, the taper walls. Taper walls are always usually, go from, and let me see if I can do something here. I don't think so, but yeah, highlighted. So you see it goes from the face, it always is gonna do this kind of cone-like, situation. If we have a both situation, in any case, if only have in one situation, the cone is always gonna be one way. However, the slanted walls is always gonna be, this case. You notice here the difference. So here is always gonna be with the angle. Here you can control both sides, the interior and the exterior size, how you slant it or you actually taper the situation. I hope that explain it a little bit better with these two guys there.
Thank you. And I love that you actually get in there and do the visual examples as well, rather than just explaining by telling us.
Yeah, well, I'm a graphic person, so I know that people who listen to me graphically, they can understand better.
Yeah, I think it just makes it so much more relevant. Let's see, our next question we have is there no Revit electrical design certification so far, either from Autodesk or yourselves as NetCom Learning?
I think that would be a question for Eliza.
Eliza, did you hear that question?
I heard it. Can you please repeat it for me one more time so I can actually wrap my head around it?
Okay, so they're asking if there is no Revit electrical design certification so far, either from Autodesk or from ourselves as NetCom Learning.
For electrical design, let me check all of our certifications.
And I'm assuming that they mean the electrical on the designs.
You're assuming, Leela?
I'm assuming.
Okay.
If you want to clarify.
No. I like your assumption now. Revit for electrical design. I know they have for architectural design. I know they have structural design. There's actually Autodesk certified professional in Revit for electrical design. It's a new certification.
Real quick, so they can see that.
Yeah.
I have to stop my screen too.
Okay, I'm gonna share yours so you can show that and they can see that. That's a good question.
Do you see it?
They stumped you.
It's a great question. So I was right over here under Autodesk certifications when you asked me. I was actually on Autodesk, so I didn't go on to NetCom Learning and started looking for it. I just looked on Autodesk. So there is an Autodesk certified professional in Revit for electrical design. So there is a certification for that. You can actually, look into this. You have your exam objectives. On NetCom Learning, if I were to take you to the electrical design, let me see what comes up. Nope, we don't have that on NetCom yet, but I'll get that added for you. So just give us a call, let us know, and I'll have an exam prep course and a certification added for you in case if that's what you're looking for. But yes, Autodesk does have the ACP for Revit for electrical design. You have
wonderful. That. Thank you so much, Eliza. And I love when they can stump us a little bit and give us the opportunity to improve our own learning platform is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad they brought this up. So thank you so much.
Okay, so it looks like we have one last question in our queue before we do wrap up today. So the next question is definitely for Roger. It says, can we still use any other PDF converter with Revit besides the export PDF?
Yeah, the answer is straightforward, is yes. Actually, I don't need to show you, but yes, it can be. I showed a little bit when I exported the PDF. In the past, we used to go to print, to file print, and then in the print, we choose what is the device. I can show that quickly. Let me see.
Oh, let me share
Then
your
use-
screen.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So let me see if I have. Yeah. So here, if we go to print, we're going to have access here in the device that is going to print the list of all of the PDF converters that we might have installed in our computer, regular PDF, Adobe, Blueprint. I use Primo PDF for many, many years, since 1998, actually, and any other PDF converter. Now Microsoft has Microsoft Print to PDF, etc. So there are no limitations there. The only thing is that here you're going to use the properties of that particular converter. In the export, however, which is my favorite now, honestly, so you just export it and it's done by Autodesk directly, or better to say, by Revit directly. So you actually export these guys, it's electronic format, and then obviously you share those PDF files with whoever you need to share. The same thing that you would do with the others. So there's no difference. Now you can use both of them. I definitely going to use the export. It's much nicer, friendlier, and straightforward. That's it. That's now the way that we can do.
Thank you so much, Roger. We really appreciate it. Right now, I am not seeing any other questions in our queue. So once again, we want to thank you for joining us. And now we are going to go ahead and launch a quick poll to find out how many people might be interested in taking some additional training. In addition to today's webinar, we have a lot of informative webinars that are coming up. So please feel free to go to www.netcomlearning.com/webinars/ to register for any of those. We want to thank you all for joining us here today. If you do come up with any additional questions, please feel free to send them to us at webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. We hope you all found today's webinar to be very informative, and we look forward to seeing you back here with us very soon. Also, feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our webinars and other courses. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Eliza. Thank you, Roger, and have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye, everybody.